A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-Cole credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM network, and John is coming on momentarily. He's having some technical difficulties, and here he is. Hey, partner, you made it. It's great to see your face.
But I have to do it on I'm doing it on my phone, so it's a little weird.
It's all right. So apparently, internet access in John's neighborhood has been shut off. I don't know. We must be talking too many politics, John, and that's what it must be. And tonight's podcast episode, it's going to get a little political because we have retired police chief Andy Harvey back with us to do part two. We left off the last episode, and you can go back and watch that with the with the phrase "we have to stop eating our own." That is where we left off. And John, you and I have talked about, and we have had guests on this show talk about, hey, we stand behind this thin blue line. I mean, look at the screen, got the flags, that thin blue line, thin red line, thin every line. And that's supposed to mean something. It's supposed to represent something. We're supposed to be united as a family. And because when you're united as a family and then you're attacked, strength in numbers, right?
Oh, yeah.
And too often we find, our own kind of just saying, nope, you're on your own, whether they don't want to be embroiled in a political issue or, we see it too with mental health. And we've called it out before on the show. Everybody's real quick to back somebody up. Like, I got your six, partner, right? But when the guns turn to ourselves, everyone's like, whoa, I don't want this. And that's what we have to stop. Because when we swear an oath and we agree to be part of this family, this blue line family, this red line family, whatever your first responder family is, it's family. We stand up for each other. We stick up for each other. And right now, more than ever, that is what we need from the chief on down. And politics be damned, we have to stand up for what is right. And so without further ado, retired police chief Andy Harvey back on the podcast. He is also an Air Force veteran.
Hey, Sam.
Chief, welcome back.
Hey, welcome. But hey, Andy, before you get started, I know I didn't get to do the opening of the show. I know Sam did it, but I do want to dedicate this show right now today to the 3 officers who were killed over in North Carolina just a few hours ago, doing a search warrant. I think 4 were actually shot, 3 were killed. 2 East North Carolina deputies and a U.S. Marshal serving a warrant. So, on behalf of all law enforcement all over the place, all over the world, our condolences, and this show goes out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Violence, chief, we deal with it every day, right? And it can happen in a split second. And when we left the show, like I introed, we were talking about we tend to eat our own when bad stuff. Well, it doesn't even take bad stuff. Just when stuff happens.
Right.
That's true.
And you have been a chief in 2 departments. One medium. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like medium size, and then your last duty station was FAR, Texas, and folks, it's PHARR, not FAR. So just to clarify, in case anybody wants to look it up, and it's also that's on the border. So you have seen a lot. Let's just dive right in, and let's go with the last. Let's go with FAR, where you retired from. Because on any given day, y'all dealt with some scary stuff. And how did you support, you personally, to your troopers?
And thanks for having me again, Sam and John. It's great to be with you. Second time, I'm honored again. And God be with the families of those officers and the police departments and the cities and the communities and all that. It affects everybody. So God be with all of them. We have to talk about this stuff, and we eat our own. We definitely do. And we don't, and I talk about this in the book because it's a vital part of policing. We talk about the job itself and the people we encounter and all those things that we always talk about. But what we need to talk about more is how we treat each other. And, we can say that, we have each other's back and we love each other and all that. But what happens when somebody gets into trouble, even right or wrong? It's like, they have the plague and we can't talk to them anymore. It's like, oh, shoot, man, he really screwed up or she really screwed up. Whatever, and they come back, hey, and then like nothing, right? Well, what happens at the time that they're gone and all those things? So we need to make sure that we're reaching out and loving them where they are. That's where we have what we need to do better as a chief. And listen, I have not always gotten this right. I'm telling you, but this last experience, I was very open about my own struggles and my own dealings with mental health and mental wellness. And you know what? I connected with officers because I'll tell you why. Several times, grown men, officers come to my office and they said, I need to talk to you. And I said, sure. And I didn't know what it was about. I said, let me know when or whatever right now. And they would come to my office, shut the door. And as soon as they shut the door, Sam and John, just tears coming down their faces. And they just needed someone to, and then I would get up and I wouldn't even say anything. I'd just hug them. Just whatever you want, just a hug and say, I'm here. What's going on? But the fact that they were able to come to my office, that you don't hear that a lot, right? With a chief, because then they're afraid that if they say something, they're going to be put on leave or be put whatever that is. And I was like, no. We're not going to do that here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get through it together. And I think for the most part, I had experiences like that told me that connected with the officer, that resonated with them. And when they were going through hard times, they were able to come to me or anybody else. And so we created a culture, I believe, that we're able to, help each other out that way. But it's not like that in many places. But,
Andy, you guys shared that video today with that officer pulling over that politician.
The DA of the town.
The DA of the town in New York. And, cops countrywide are not being allowed to do their jobs. That's one. The political climate has labeled them as demons on both sides, Republican and Democrat, and just in the political parties together have most, not all, have labeled them as demons. So as a cop who can't do his job, who's got to deal with protesters who hate them every single day, I think the callousness and the trust has tremendously diminished within anybody. So they don't know if they can go to their leaders because they don't know what side their leaders are going to fall on. They can't go to their fellow officer because they don't know if that fellow officer is going to rat them out or say, hey, he's got a problem or he was thinking these thoughts. So, when you can't trust your job and you can't trust the public, man, it gets scary that you can't even trust those brothers and sisters within those four walls of the police department, we're in for some bad times ahead of us.
Well, that's where you need, again, right? We're talking about culture, police culture, and every there's a police culture. Every agency has a little culture of their own,
Right.
Starting with the chief, right, and all the way down, and then there's subcultures within that. I mean, so it gets a little complex. But at the end of the day, you're right, John. We need chiefs and leaders, and really just we need to understand that we need to be there for each other, but we need to set clear expectations from the very beginning, and we know what those are. Listen, you go out, you deal with the public. Here's what we want from you: to treat everybody with fairness, dignity, and respect. I don't care if it's the DA or whoever. It does not matter. When we do that, we make better decisions, and we treat everybody the same, right? If we're treating everybody with a fundamental fairness, then we treat them that way. What if that person in that video that I sent you, and if you haven't seen it, it's out there. You can Google it, I'm sure.
I just watched it. That blew my mind. That actually blew my mind.
Let's take a quick break,
Okay.
and then we'll get right into that video when we get back. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor with John and Sam. With Andy, retired police chief in a couple different counties. A lot of stuff going on. He knows a lot about the law enforcement background. And we're here to talk about the culture, how it's changing, and how our men and women in blue are not getting the support by the command staff that they should. Andy, with all the knowledge and experience you have, just give me a numbers figure, worldwide. I mean, from California to New York, all these officers, the percentage of chiefs that are there for their men or there for the political climate.
It's really hard to tell. It's really hard to, but I can tell you that I've met many, and I've been around this for a while, as you have. And we talked a little bit about this last podcast. Many chiefs go to save their job, go to work today to save their job, not to do their job. Big difference. And when you go to do your job, that means you're going to be vulnerable and you're going to be without a safety net. But that's why you're there. And so that's why I believe many chiefs, and it's hard to put a number on that, John, but I can tell you, I've heard from officers and I hear other chiefs and talk about it. I'm not saying I'm perfect because I've made my mistakes, but I can tell you most of the time officers chiefs are more looking out for their own survival than what's in the best interest of their officers and community and all that. So it's those politics that always, seems to have a place in our daily, lives as far as police officers, and it shouldn't. But it's the reality and how you juggle that. But you need leadership. Leadership matters. It matters. And listen, you might lose your job, but if you're standing up for the right thing, then you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I stood up for the right thing. But it's tough.
Yes, it's a perfect segue. Perfect segue into the video, the story that you sent, and we say names. We say names on this show. This happened in Monroe County, New York. A police officer doing what police officers do every day, pulling somebody over for speeding. That somebody happened to be Sandra Dorley, who is the district attorney for Monroe County. And that lady, it's all on body cam video. So you can go to, this one just happens to be on Fox News. You can go to foxnews.com, type in Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Doorley, and you'll get the video. Okay, so when a police officer does their job, whether it's a speeding ticket or making an arrest for a murder, right? We go to the DA and pitch the case, and the DA takes it and it goes to court. And so that person is, in essence, a representative of law enforcement.
Right. They're the highest end of the law, really.
Yeah.
Right.
They're supposed to help uphold the law.
Right. So this district attorney took it upon herself to berate the officer, didn't like that she was being stopped. In fact, called his chief. It is in the video. Called his chief and handed the police officer the phone with
Rewind that for a second, Sam. She also failed to stop and comply with the lights and sirens that officer had on
for
a half mile. She failed to stop her car.
Right. She pulled into her own garage, hands him the phone, and it's his chief on the other line. And when I watched this, it was like watching a horror movie, because going through the training that a police officer goes through, you never let a person disappear from your line of sight, and you surely don't let a person walk into their own house. Right. Because you don't know what's coming back out at you.
And she reached into the car numerous times.
Oh, it is a disgusting display of behavior from this woman. And all I could say is she is damn lucky that, other officers didn't show up, guns weren't drawn, because we are living in a climate with targets on our backs.
Yep.
That's the reality of policing right now, especially in any major city. Again, this is New York. It doesn't matter if it's a suburb. It's still New York. New York's a little crazy right now.
I got to give kudos to that. I got to give kudos to that officer, because he kept his composure.
He did.
He showed excellent composure, but I got to give kudos to his chief too. She got a damn ticket.
Good. Yeah.
He issued the citation. Her ass is in a sling big time.
Yeah.
And that police officer was nothing but professional. He handled himself beautifully. Yep. He did the right thing. Somebody was looking out for him, because like I said, he may not have been worried about her. He may have recognized her. I don't know. But he sure as crap didn't know if anybody was on the other side of that door.
Right? You're right. And safety always number one, of course. We talk about this all the time. But you're right, John. That officer, and Sam, that officer did a great job. I tell officers, listen, and I wrote about it, but I tell officers this: listen, you have a body camera. Allow them to take the stage, right? Let them be whatever they want to be, because at the end of the day, when a jury sees it, a judge sees it, or whatever, it's going to be on them. So, and they're going to say, look at that officer, just like we're talking about. Look at how he kept his composure. So use that to your advantage. We talk about body cams and they're, oh man, we have to wear this body cam. No. Turn it around. Allow them the stage and allow them to act the way, obviously safety first. I'm talking about the everyday interactions and, but just allow them to do that, because at the end of the day, the officer will be better for it. And just like we're talking about now, we're giving him kudos. This.
He even did the right thing when he entered, like by the door of the house in the garage. He covered the camera to protect her privacy of her home.
Yeah,
and I was
well, that's because she had some choice words like "get the bleep out of my house."
Listen, officers
she was totally unprofessional.
This is why officers, I believe, have the toughest job in America today. Because you have to deal with people like this. And listen, and I don't know, let's be very fair. The way she acted was wrong, but who knows? She could have had the worst news on the way home. Who the hell knows, right? I mean,
she did. All kinds of stuff.
I'm not saying it excuses her behavior. But
does not.
No, it does not. It does not excuse it. But what I'm saying is, we have the toughest. We don't know what people are going through, who you're going to talk to, how they're going to act. You got to deal with all this stuff. You got to deal with DAs who think they're God, maybe, and you got to deal with people, whatever the case. And so we have to be able to maneuver, and whether you're talking to someone who's pissed, had a bad day, whatever that is, or thinks they're God or diva or whatever, and you got to deal with everything. And that's what makes this job the toughest job in America today. I really, it's just these interactions that you have to get through it. And so the chief did a great job by supporting him, and the officer did a great job, of course.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of comments in our live stream. What I want to do is let's take another quick break. We'll come right back and we'll get to the comments. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance we'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. And Andy, we're talking about, the police officing. Being a police officer today is the hardest job in America. We're seeing it on video left and right where our own DAs and our own political officials are berating our officers, and they're supposed to be the ones that are backing our officers, and they're not doing that. On top of that, we had 3 officers shot and killed in the line of duty today. One was shot and wounded. I'm sure more cops over the United States today were assaulted, spit on, kicked, lost their jobs. On top of that, they also have personal problems. They lose family members. They're fighting with their spouses. They lost how to put a dog down. The kid's not doing good at school. But no one takes that into an account. They think a cop is a robot and programmed and goes. No, a cop has human emotions just like everybody else. And they have to hold that stuff in. And if they don't allow anybody if they can't release that, just like we all have to, right? We could have some deadly consequences. And we need chiefs out there to stand up and say, hey, I got you. I got you. What are you,
Yeah, we need chiefs and we need each other to say, I got you. And like I said, when we talked about at the very beginning, even when we're wrong, especially maybe, we need people to know, we need our people to know that we got you. Well, that's my bulldog.
He's saying,
no, that's okay. My dog, I had to mute myself because he's in the other room doing whatever he was doing.
But yeah, we need each other. It's the toughest job in America. When we talk about, I always say, the cops are not immune to life. We have families. We have kids that are getting in trouble. We have kids that are doing drugs. We have divorces. We have financial problems. You name it, you're going through it. And we're going through it as well. So we're different, and we have to come to work, and we have to deal with and solve your problems while all of this is going on. That's why it's the hardest job in America. And so, and then we go back to what we eat our own. I mean, we get it from everywhere else. The last place we need it is at the station. At the police station.
So here's the statement. So our good friend Ernie Stevens, he's watching. Any comments?
Ernie.
If the traffic stop involved an off-duty officer who failed to stop, the outrage would be insane. Yes, it would.
For sure. Yeah, definitely double standard for sure. Yeah, he's right.
And so besides, I'll say, gone are the days in most departments where, and John has talked about this on the show, on the podcast before, about how, and the NYPD was so great at it. Everybody met. You came to the briefing room or where, roll call, whatever it was. Everybody was there. The lieutenant or even sometimes the chief will get up there before you go out on shift and talk about, who's on the lookout list, what's going on, What do you have to be aware of? And there was always, be safe out there. So you had this camaraderie, this essence of team as you were going out. Over the years, we went from foot patrol to 2-person cars. We still have 2-person vehicles. A lot of the departments are now 1. And so we have less and less of that kind of check-in time and like being together time.
Yep.
And how much of that do you think, Andy, plays into this double standard where, in this instance, what Ernie brings up, you'd have officers commenting, turning on officers. And then, do you think it would be a good job to go back to doing those? Hey, if you're on, 3 to 11 or, third swing shift, third shift, whatever you call your shifts, to be in one room together before you go out.
Well, I hope police departments are doing that still. I mean, that's the only time that you get to spend together. And here's what we talk about chiefs a lot. Let me tell you, I really believe sergeants, the first line supervisors, have even more influence on that camaraderie, especially within a shift, a watch, whatever you want to call it. And if you have strong sergeants and good sergeants that are looking out for your best interests, man, I tell you what, that makes a huge difference. And when you get together in that room, people are happy to see each other. But now, what I see once in a while, I see they just go, they're their business, write down whatever, okay, y'all be safe, and everybody goes about, and that's it.
Some guys don't even go into the precinct. Some guys pull their private car into the parking lot, move their stuff from their private car into the RMP, and then they go out on patrol.
I hope they're not doing that, but because I think, maybe once in a while that stuff happens, especially in large cities where stuff's going, you got to get going, but not all the time. But I'm hoping that they at least meet. We used to have our sector, and you remember even after work, I may be going into something that probably I shouldn't, but even after work, we'd have the safety meetings where at least we'd go and kind of hang out with each other just for a little bit, whatever that is, cold beer, whatever. And
choir practice,
do stress, whatever you want to call it, choir practice, safety meetings. But those were cool. And here's what we also used to do, even once a week. Hey, let's meet for dinner. I would send the dispatcher a message. Hey, my guys and I are going to be, I say guys loosely, we're going to be at wherever Stefano's Pizza, right, for lunch. So we'll be there, and we're keeping tabs and all that, but we'll be there. And so we mark out, eat together. And if someone has to go, well, we got to go, whatever. But just eating together, whatever that is a huge morale booster. So I hope people are doing that. Officers are doing that these days. If you're not, I encourage you, sergeants, to do that for your people. And I tell you what, it really brings people together. And it's not all just business. Go, go, go. Look out for this. Look out for that. No. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, and then go home. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Ernie says the days of Hill Street Blues are a thing of the past. Ernie, I think we need it back. I love that show. But you know what, Andy, you're right. I mean, the check-in has to be there. John and I and the rest of the team at A Badge of Honor, we recognize this, because Jeff is a police officer, and that's why we do, our family workshops or do family event days or just officer, first responder days where they just have a decompressed day out of the office. They're doing, we're planning one for the fall with equine therapy and kayaking. And, you've got to give that the nurturing part too, because John, you said it, we're not robots. And we'll stay with New York with the freaking cesspool that city has become. And I mean, it is nothing like when I was there, John, when you were on the beat, because you also made it a point to get out there and to meet people. But we have absolute lawlessness being tolerated. And the one group of people that is stuck smack dab in the middle are our officers. And we've got a chief that can't figure out his freaking asshole from his elbow. And then we've got all these politicians that are screaming and yelling, where's the cops? He's like, I don't know. We got the Columbia she's like, oh, I don't want NYPD here. And it's just like, if I'm a police officer, I'm like, all of you.
You're losing all the way around.
When I was in the NYPD, you went in, you changed it, in your locker room, you came up, you stood roll call, right? And like I said, the sergeant came in front of that platoon. Maybe it was 20 of us, right? He would address the troops. He would talk. It was 15 minutes of a little asking questions back and forth. Tell us what's going on in the neighborhood. What happened the day before? It was a communication process. And then once in a while, a lieutenant would come or the captain would come and speak, But it was a day that those roll calls where everybody bonded. You started interacting with people. You shared information, right? Hey, I got your back. Hey, I'll meet you over here for lunch. Hey, let's go check this out. It was a communication thing. When I walked the foot post, let me tell you something. I worked in one of the worst drug areas in New York City, right? And the way that politician spoke to that officer, man, drug dealers don't even speak to cops like that. They don't, man. Even a drug dealer has more respect for some of the laws, because they don't want to go to jail. But they'll, this is where
they'll say go F yourself behind your back.
It's our politicians that are really ruining our police department. We got Eric Adams out there who was a so-called NYPD guy, captain in there, but he was a do-nothing then. He's a do-nothing as a mayor, and he doesn't even back his police department. When our politicians aren't backing our police department, we're going to see a fall in membership. We're going to see a fall in arrests, and it's just going to. I don't know if this is the ultimate plan. They want to collapse everything and have a government state. This way they can control everything. I don't know.
Yeah,
beyond my brain capabilities.
The problem is that those lines, all those little lines that you're talking about, are being even more blurred, and we don't even know who's in charge anymore. We don't know. We don't have direction. Again, leadership matters, and who's caught in the middle?
The cops.
The cops are, and they're the bad guys, right? Because they're not doing anything because no one even knows what to do, so they're just there, and now they're the bad guys, and they want to do good, but they want to do good.
Yeah, or being smacked upside the head by people, privileged people at these universities, and it's like, you can't arrest me. I'm a professor. Oh, really? No, there is a line, and we've got a lot of people crossing over it. Guys, if you are just tuning in, we were talking with Andy Harvey's retired police chief, also an Air Force veteran. He also wrote 2 books, which we need to talk about. Yes. The most current one, Changing the Beat, and then the first one you wrote, Excellence in Policing. But you have written a lot. You're out there in numerous publications, lots of articles. When we come back from our next break, we are going to get into the books that every police chief needs to pick up if they don't have already. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, everybody.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Badge of Honor podcast with John and Andy. Andy, you're a police chief, Air Force veteran. Oh, well, it's just me and Andy now.
I said too many curse words. Sam,
I'm multitasking. I'm trying to close out a browser to look at my security thing for my camera and the whole bit.
I love you, partner. I love you.
I'm trying to fix that. But, we can rant all day, and we can turn the Badge of Honor into just big one rant and bitch session. But let's not do that. Let's talk about the solutions to the problems, and let's talk about how, Andy, you're writing some great books. You got some great articles out there that every cop should have on his desk, should make priority reading material, because one, the reading that the scriptures or writings that you put in this book, right, uplift you and make you remember your why, make you know that why you're a cop, why you still do what you do. And, even those things that you write in your book uplift you, right? So maybe your sergeant's not saying it to you, maybe your chief's not saying it to you, but Andy's saying it to you through the words in his book.
Well, I appreciate that, John. And, here are the 10 commandments, here they are. But this is the book that I just read, that I just wrote. But I'll tell you, this book and my messages it's nothing profound here. It's just the things that we've been talking about. But I'll tell you, the message is how to survive as a police officer and how to remain relevant as a profession in these times of chaos. How do we do that? And we got to keep it simple. We got to go back to the way we treat every interaction with any citizen, no matter who it is, and how we treat each other. And so I talk about that in the book, and it's the most important. I tell you, when we make decisions out there in the field that are in the best interest of not only the police officer, but also of community, when we're making really good decisions and using our judgment like we know we're supposed to, that benefits everybody. And it makes the officers safer. It makes them safer with their career, because we're also protecting their lives and their careers, right? That's important. And I believe, again, like that officer we're talking about in New York in that video, that could easily go downhill quick, and then he's the bad guy. No, you know what? He was the good guy because he knows how to handle people and how to talk to them and how to come out with the best objective, and he did. And so he was able to turn that around into something positive for him, because now we're talking about that
right
behalf. And so that's really the message. It's how we treat each other on the street, how we treat each other as police officers, and so I talk about all of that. It's very simple, not a profound message, but it's stuff that we need to hear over and over. And if you're not getting it from each other and your department and all that, then this is one way of getting it. But I appreciate you allowing me to talk about that.
Andy, let me ask something. You brought up a good point. Cops are human. They are human. They breathe, they eat, they sleep, they have emotions, right? So if this cop today had a bad day, his kid got expelled from school, his wife or his boyfriend for somebody else, right? So now he goes to work and he's not happy. His eyes aren't on the ball of the job, right? But he has this interaction with this supposedly profession. It could go bad. People forget that cops are humans as well, right? We have emotions. We have bad days. Just like the checkout girl or guy at the counter has a bad day, you'll have a good counter person or you'll have a bad counter person. Good customer service, bad customer service. But the police are always the brunt of it through news media, through politicians, through everybody, and they're not given a break. They're not given the benefit of the doubt.
It's the broad brush. It's
right.
The broad brush. If a surgeon amputates the wrong leg,
oops,
you don't, the entire, orthopedic surgeons across the world are not vilified.
Or if a teacher sleeps with his students again and again and again and again and again and again,
every teacher
is vilified, right?
Well, let's just go back to what we were talking about earlier. Let's just take care of each other, first of all, because no one's going to take care of us out there like we take care of each other if we are intentional about it. Hopefully, first line supervisors know their people, right? That's just basic leadership 101. Know your people, and when somebody comes in and they're not the same, like something's wrong with them, and we need to, as leaders, pull them aside. Hey, you okay? You don't seem yourself today. Everything okay? What's going on? They're at home. Hey, I just got in a fight with my wife. I did with my kid. Whatever the heck's going on. But we need to be having those conversations. I learned something in the Air Force. People are my business as leaders. You are my business. So sometimes we're like, well, we don't want to ask about what's going on at home and all that. No, you are my business, because if I don't know you, then how can I help you and how can I lead you? And so I'm not talking about knowing every single little thing. I'm just talking about, hey, you are my business. I need to know how you're doing, man. So
and I'm going to bring up Sheriff Wilburn over here in Tarrant County. Me and him used to have a lot of conversations. And what you just said was correct to a point. All right. When a cop is on the job, when he's in uniform and he's at his command, his shield is up, right? He's got that suit of armor on. Sheriff Wayburn calls his sheriffs at home after work and says, hey, you're relaxing on the couch. You okay today? Their guards are down. Their shields are down, right? When we speak to our officers, we should speak to them on a basis where they are comfortable at home. They're relaxing. Hey, I care about you. I'm just making this phone call to see how you are. Now when we're ready to go out and patrol, because you know what? We have a different mental attitude. And what are we going to say to our boss? I'm fine. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's why those lunches, those dinners, those times when the shields are down, the guards are down, we're interacting as humans and not as cops and people and friends. We're more open. We're more open to talk about our feelings. Right. Otherwise, you're okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Because I cannot be okay because I got to be out of the job. I have to be okay.
It's basic, basic leadership. Care about do you care enough, right? That's really, do you care? And if you get it wrong, then make it right. If you have something with an officer, make it right. If you did something wrong, then you make it right. And that way the air's clear and people can talk and open and be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. This stuff about, well, I'm hiding, I can't talk about, man, we need to get past that. And be open, but we need to create that culture, because if we don't, people are not going to talk. We're not going to talk about what's going on in our lives, and that's when it reflects on their actions out in the field, and that's where officers get in trouble. And here we are, right? And so we don't want that for our officers, and that's why when we talk about stuff like that in the book, or just to have these conversations, hopefully officers are listening, and we're creating a culture that's good for them. Because do you care? That's the bottom line. Do you care enough? And I believe that we do. We just got to show it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're going to come back after our next break. We're going to talk about how people can get the book and how they can reach out to you directly, Andy, after this. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
To the Health Engineer Show. I'm Cliff Buckley, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat.
Hi, I'm Larry Corkamp.
Hi, my name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching Offbeat.
Hi, this is Doreen Milano. Welcome to Big Ideas Small Business, where we will talk to Terry Arjala.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam and Andy.
You didn't forget about you, Sam. We got you.
I got you, partner. I got you.
I know you got the partner.
Before we left, we're really getting deep, and we're talking about, changing the culture in policing, which is really going to help save lives, not only during your 20 or 25-year career, but it's really going to help you when the music stops and your career is over. Because you're going to learn to be able to open up some feelings that you put down inside. If you never share them, they are going to come out. Believe me, one day they are going to come out, because we cannot hold those in. The body is just not made to hold that emotional trauma inside you. And I don't care how strong a person you are, how cold you are, it's going to come out. So we have to spread it out through a 20-year career. We have to change the culture, like Andy says, and we have to be able to take each other, take our officers, take our bosses, and talk, and really care and be concerned about our fellow officers. You know what? 3 officers went out today. They are not going home tonight. I bet you there's an officer somewhere that said, hey, I should have said good morning to him. Hey, I should have said, I love you, brother. Hey, I should have said this. You know what? Use your words, man. They mean a lot. They mean a lot when you say something, and maybe the last time you say something to somebody.
So is it fair to say, Andy, that changing the beat is your newest publication, that it's changing the beat within our 4 walls of our departments and also out in the community? And if we can get those in sync, in harmony, like the beautiful notes and the music
in the background, your artwork in the background
of the book, that we will be in a much better place.
Oh, for sure. I don't think we realize at times how much influence a police department has on a city. And I say this, and sometimes I've said other departments within a city, but I'll tell you that the police department has more influence than any other department in a city to lift the city or tear it down. And that's why I believe it's our responsibility to understand our community. And I'm talking about lifting communities with relevant policing. We have to remain relevant. We can't do or act the way we did 10 years ago if society's changing, and we got to be able to adapt and really understand what's going on so that we can change along with it, but also lead and get in front of it if we can, right? It's a hard thing to do because society's changing so fast, but we'll really be left behind if we're not being intentional on how we police. But it all goes back to what we've discussed here in the first podcast as well. It's how we treat everybody. People want the same things from their police department. They look for direction. They look to us for help. They look to us for, to solve their problems, wrong or right or fair or unfair, whatever they're going through. But here we are. We got to deal with our problems and go deal with yours. But fairness, dignity, and respect is where it's at. And it keeps officers safer and also protects their careers, which both are important. That's what I talk about in the book. And that's how we lift up communities, making good decisions out in the field and treating people the way we want to be treated, the way your mother or wife or daughter or brother's son would want to be treated if an officer encountered them somewhere.
Sure.
What's so great about this book, Andy, this is all seen through your eyes, that you wanted to change something, right? What did you see during your whole police career? And did you try to make changes and you hit stone walls, or did you see other departments not just doing the right thing? What made you say, I got to change this. I got to write this book and I got to make this happen?
Well, we see it every day still. We see, events and videos every day about how officers, get in trouble. Sometimes that they're, not in the best, they're not acting in a way that's in the best interest for them, our profession, their agency. And then there's people that are hard to deal with. And so how do we do all that? And so I wanted to give some tools and to remind officers, first of all, people still believe in you, by the way. You can see all the negative crap, but people still believe in you because they still dial 911. How do they keep dialing 911? And that's on us, on how we help them. But, I see it all the time. And I just wanted to give officers some tools. First, remind them people still believe in you. What you do is noble. What you do is probably the most important thing in this nation. And without you, this nation crumbles. Think about a day without police officers and see what happens. And I'm thinking about people in law enforcement, everybody. And so think about that and the impact that you have. But let's stop going from big. Let's start going to your own community, your own agency. And you can have an impact there if you understand it and if you are intentional about the way we police. But it starts from the top all the way down. And it's just basic tools on how to do that. Lift communities up. Are you doing it or are we tearing it down? Are your decisions lifting a community? That's really what it comes down to. Because bad decisions, and I've been a victim of this too. Perhaps the other day we can talk about it. You can really, really affect people's lives negatively and unnecessarily. I think that's the key word, unnecessarily, if you're not being intentional and really, really thinking about, being empathetic and all those things that we need to be. But it's a tough job. Listen, there's so many factors we can talk about. It's a tough gig, but that's why I wanted to give the officers some tools in order to survive, be safer, because when we treat people with dignity and respect and fairness, most of the time they'll be cooperative, they'll listen to you, and you'll go home safer and your career will be safer as well. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
So, Andy, where can people purchase the books? Again, there's two books. Excellence in Policing was the first one, and then Changing the Beat was the second one. Do I have that correct?
Yes, they're both on Amazon. Just, obviously just Google that, Excellence in Policing or Changing the Beat, and they're there. I have them on ebook, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. You can read the whole thing for free. You can download it, but ebook, it's cheap. Paperback and hardcover. It's pretty cool having a hardcover book now. You don't see that much anymore, right? But
I like hardcover books.
I know it's hold on, somehow. But this is the paperback, and it's real easy to read. I even put pictures in there because we get bored, right?
Yeah, I need pictures.
It's perfect.
I'm not a comedian, but hopefully there's some funny stuff in there because I know how we are and how we have a wicked sense of humor. So there's some funny things in there. I hope they're funny. But again, right? Here's the deal. Right now, they're $10 on Amazon. I lowered the price because I want people. And if you order Chiefs, City, whoever you are out there, if you order this for your group, your agency, I would throw in a lunch and learn for free, right? Just us talking about things out there, not about the book, but really more about what's going on. And if I can do that for you, I do it for free because I just want to make sure the message gets out there. So I'm here to help. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter and all that, but my email address, if I can plug it in, is Andy@excellenceinpolicing.tv. Andy@excellenceinpolicing.tv, or just look me up on LinkedIn. But I hope to hear from you, and I want to help departments. An easy lunch and learn. That's too easy, right? Just get your guys. Hey, we're going to eat lunch together today.
Free lunch? How? No cop turns down a free lunch.
Go get some pizza and put me on the whatever monitor, and let's have a conversation. It's really that's just like we're having here.
Exactly. Well, Andy, thank you again for coming on. Again, this hour flew by. We could just keep going. There's so much. There's so many takeaways, and I hope people have really. I took notes that people were like, you know what? It may be a really tough job right now, but I know that I can make a difference. And let's keep the conversation going. Folks, get Andy's books and connect with him on LinkedIn. Have the conversation there. It's a great way to bring even more people into the conversation. And thank you, LinkedIn family, if you're watching this on LinkedIn Live right now. So thank you, Andy. We will definitely be in touch again, and stay safe out there.
Thank you, Sammy John. Y'all take care.
All right.
Thanks. Take care.
Absolutely. All right. This is awesome. I mean, the comment stream was blowing up. Thank you, Ernie, and everybody that commented. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Those of you that tune in every week, thank you. If this is your first time, hit that like and subscribe button. There's even that bell thing if you're watching on YouTube, so that you never miss an episode. And usually I'm pointing John to, I'm doing this.
But now you can go like this.
Do this. So I got a little fancy over the weekend.
You did a good job. You did a good job.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change it up just because seeing the screen layout and everything. But but thank you, StreamYard, for allowing us to do these StreamYard overlays, they're called. This is a wonderful platform if you've not used StreamYard before. And thank you, OBBM Network as well. But carry the load. First of all, a huge shout out. The East Coast Relay stepped off today in West Point. There are 5 relays across the United States. They will start at different times, but these 5 relays all culminate and end in Dallas, Texas on Memorial Day weekend, where we all get together to celebrate those who continue in the fight, our active duty personnel, our veterans who fought hard, and those that made the ultimate sacrifice. We've got Gold Star families that come out, and we can remember them, their loved ones. It is, if you've never been to Reverchon Park, to the Dallas Memorial March, please come down to Dallas. Come be with us. Last year we had over 10,000 people. We have the Carry the Load puts up storyboards throughout the Katy Trail and throughout the park, so you can read about those that we have lost. We are just honored again to be nonprofit partners, part of the Continuum of Care program that gives back directly to our first responders and veterans. So if you're not familiar with Carry the Load, check them out, carrytheload.org. Easiest way is just go to our website, abadgeofhonor.org. Got a pop-up right there. You can find out more information, join our team, or donate if you can't be with us. It's also where you find all of our events. We've got some coming up this weekend and throughout the month of May. To all of our first responders out there, we are praying for you. We are grateful for you for taking that oath, getting out of bed every day, and wanting to give your best. Remember, if you need a little a little encouragement, get Andy's books. But just remember that you matter and what you do matters to your community. To all of the veterans out there, thank you for fighting the good fight that allows us to do a show like this every week. For those active duty personnel across the globe, thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. We're thinking about you as well. John, take us home.
Well, that DA in New York, shame on you for treating a member of your team so poorly. You know what? And kudos to the officer who kept his composure and really upheld what law enforcement is all about. God bless you. You are definitely a beacon in the law enforcement community. To all other guys, man, keep the families of those who were injured and lost their lives today over in North Carolina. It's a battle each and every day. Let's do what Andy says. We fight with each other out on the street. We got each other's back on the street. Let's watch each other's back after we take off the uniform as well. So until next week, Sam, God bless.
God bless everybody. We'll see you next week.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBN Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBN Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.